Okay, so it's a very full morning here in the commercial nav center of Anambra State, the city of Onitsha, from where we radiate and bring you issues that happen around the world and in Nigeria. And of course, we are saying welcome to the Polity on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. It's Tuesday edition, the 6th of January 2026. Of course, the new year is already counting and running. Today is the 6th day of this very January. And I know that some persons who travel for Christmas celebration, they are returning, because if you take to the roads this very morning, you will feel something different compared to what it was last week. Of course, we have seen increase in the vehicular movement as well as the presence of people, and we have seen some businesses, opening. So what we can say is that Christmas celebration is over for some persons, while some persons are still in their villages having one celebration or the other. It's either traditional marriage, wedding, or even burial services going on in different communities. Okay, so whatever it is or wherever you are listening to this very morning, we are saying Happy New Year once more to you, and we urge you to know that the time is ticking too, so that you do and get back to your base and begin your business or your endeavors as the year runs through. Thank you once more for being with us on this very time. My name is Frank Nebuka. And as usual, what we do here is that we bring you headlines from different newspapers and then make analysis on some of the topical developments as captured by these various newspapers. My name is Frank Nebuka. Welcome. Okay, so thank you for staying tuned to that Radio 104.7 FM. And I must tell you that it's been eventful. The past 24 hours has been eventful. If you are going to look from the way of sports, of course, Nigeria played Mozambique in the round of 16 of AFCON, and it ended 4-0 in favor of Nigeria. It was a thrashing. And in fact, if Nigeria had scored all the chances they had, it would have been up to 7-0. But 4 was good enough for us to move into the quarterfinal of the AFCON. If you leave the area of sports, of course, Donald Trump, U.S. president, is trying to make incursion into other areas, Greenland, Mexico, and what have you not. It's no longer news that U.S. made an incursion into Venezuela, and they were able to capture, should I call him now former president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, who was arraigned in court yesterday. And guess what? The vice president was also sworn in yesterday. But what appears now is that it seems Donald Trump has been emboldened, and he's also trying to make incursion into some other countries of the world based on what he feels was the right thing he's been doing. Then if you come back to Nigeria, you get to see that in Anambra State here, we understand that the jostle for the mayorship of the local government areas we have in Anambra State, of course, has started. That was last year when the State Independent Electoral Commission announced that by August 26 this year is going to hold local government elections. And from what we gathered, of course, people are already making moves. People who have interest to contest for the chairmanship position in Anambra State, they have declared. But from the reports coming out, it appears like within the ABGA circle that some mayors might not return. And there is a report which is captured in some various newspapers that 15 of them might not return based on one reason or the other, either by the virtue of non-performance or by the virtue of certain gentleman agreement in certain locations. So that is another interesting story coming from Anambra State. Then you go to the national level where INEC has announced that the second phase of the voter registration is going to commence. Already it commenced yesterday. And this time around, people who have not registered, this is time for you to register and have that very, very voting power, which is having the voter card, which gives you the right to vote during elections. Then I saw one development that caught my fancy. Pastor Bolaji Do, who is the senior pastor of Harvester Church, has announced that he's going to pay his church members who are jobless the sum of 50,000 naira monthly stipend for the next 3 months. And I must tell you that, of course, being a brother's keeper and trying to see how you can have them to stand on their own is quite interesting. I also saw another story where the police was captured in the bad news where they were able to extort somebody the sum of about 2,000 US dollars. Somebody came back to Nigeria for Christmas celebration, and police caught up with him, profiled him, and extorted 2,000 US dollars from him. And this time around, the man was able to engage some journalists and also engage some senior police officers, and they were able to recover about 2 million. But the remaining is yet to be recovered. Then the crisis in Rivers State is far from being over. This time around, it appears that the governors of the APC are throwing their weight behind the governor of Rivers State, Simi Fubara. And yesterday we saw another exchange between Nyesom Wike, the FCT minister, and the APC national secretary, Senator Bashiru. Bashiru was, doubling down on his earlier admonition that the office of the governor should not be disrespected the way it was disrespected by APC chairman South Gaidam. And then the other developments, of course, there are bandit attacks somewhere else. And then President Bola Tinubu made some appointments yesterday. Another developments we have in the paper. So the papers are loaded this very morning. And of course, by the time we begin analysis, you get to understand what we mean. But I'm not alone this very morning because I'm with Dr. Tony Zambeki. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning, Franklin. Ebuka, good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, the good people of Southeast. Good morning, the Anambra. Good morning, the Onitsha Donidu. Good morning, the Osumo. Good morning, everyone. We are back in our sanctuary to perfect the truth. As professors and purveyors of truth, we owe the duty to speak to the facts and also speak to the issues we have before us. We thank God Almighty for His mercy, for His love, for His kindness, for everything He has given to us, for us to be here this very morning, to make it also a worthwhile. And we know very well it's going to be, as usual, your work. And we have got so many. Yesterday, I remember Nigeria was going to play Mozambique, and I thought that the match was about 9 p.m., only for me to turn on the television and discover that Nigeria was 2 goals up against Mozambique. In fact, I started watching at the halftime, so I was impressed. But when I continued to watch the match, I saw in fact, that match was not competitive. It was more of training. Mozambique, I discovered, had no shots on target throughout the entire 90 minutes. So, but it tells you that Nigeria is a dominant force, and they have been the highest goal-scoring team in this tournament with about 12 goals or thereabouts. And we've seen Demola Lookman topping both goal and assist ratio. But many forgot to talk about the 4-0 tramping of Mozambique. But the issue had been the heated argument between Oshimen and Lookman. In fact, I followed that very game from that very point where Ademola Lookman, who is one of the talismanic players Nigeria has in this tournament, would not release the ball on time to Oshimen. I think twice I discovered that, and Oshimen was very furious about that. But I thought, as a team player, these are things they will settle in the dressing room, not in the open. You don't watch your dirty leanings in the open. Nigeria was already winning. You scored 2. And Ademola Lookman assisted 1. Yes, Ademola Lookman was selfish in some cases where he could not release the ball to you. I thought you have your reservation. You must have emotional intelligence. You must have your reservation. And these are things that are addressed that's what dressing room is all about. In fact, it was the players from Mozambique, they were the one holding him back. Those you are trashing 4-0, holding you back to put your emotions in check. So it is very disappointing. As a superstar he is, we understand his frustration. He would have loved the team to thrash Mozambique 5-0, 6-0. He's so passionate. He's so committed. That's Oshimen. But at times there are things that are better reserved in the dressing room, not in the open. I think that's my comment. I think many Nigerians have been commenting on that. I decided to add to that. So we're going to look at other things that happen. In fact, we've seen people returning home. In fact, this morning, while coming down here, I discovered that many vehicles on the road, traffic as usual is building up gradually. that to tell you that people who have traveled, they have come back home. Majority of them, those who are still remaining at home, could be those who have one barrier, I think, or traditional marriage left. But majority, they have come back. In fact, most markets in Anambra State open today. Banks, they are open. So the whole food section, service sector, and many other business sector, they have all returned. So everybody is bracing up for the challenge that 2026 will pose. But we believe that it's going to be a very breakthrough for many of us and many persons who also see the light in the year. So the key thing is, this is 2026. Everybody is back. For me, when I say everybody is back, I mean majority. They are back. And let's fix the 2026. And it's politics, just like many of you know. 2026 is a year of politics. So let's see how that will go.
Okay, so there is this very report on the Tribune. If you check the Telegraph, you also see that very report talking about that ahead of the August 26, 2026 local government election in Anambra State, that about 15 mayors may be dropped as the candidates of the All Progressive Grand Alliance APGA. Somebody can say it could be early, but looking at this very report, initially when it came out, it was put in the realm of speculation, but now they are saying that there are inside sources who are saying that these people might not return based on one reason or the other. Is it premature to talk about this?
We know very well that everybody is looking at this election from the APGA perspective. But we know very well that it's going to be open to different political parties, and we have 21 mayors. I remember many of them started as DC chairmen, and they transitioned into mayorship. So the reports about 15 will be dropped. I think that's the speculation of the person who may have written that. There is no any background to that. Nobody has said anybody. In fact, the field is open for everybody as we speak right now. But there are towns or there are local governments that believe in rotation. There are local governments that believe in rotation, and one of those local governments, I think Newi, not believe so much in rotation. I think Dunu Coffee also believes. There are some local governments that are so much entrenched into zoning, or you call it zoning. So those who have this zoning entrenched in their system, I don't know, the zoning may be respected, but remember, it's a democratic process. And if you are coming from the platform of APGA, the party is supreme. So the party will decide who goes or who will not. And also performance will also be judged. How you've been doing. And then some believe that you can't be there for a very long time, that since everybody's supporting the party, take your shot and then allow others to take their shot. It's not going to be you and you alone. So even if you think you can do this, there are others who can also do that thing you think you can do. So it's more like trying to expand the support base of the party, to tell every member of the party, I'm talking about APGA now, that you've got a reward. Just show loyalty, support as usual. At a point, you're going to just have your own time and your opportunity. So for those who are also mayors as we speak, many of them would like to come back. In fact, many of them are vying for second term. I have not seen any of them saying I'm not going to contest for the second time. So primaries will decide, party will decide, and there are quite a lot of things will decide. Even the governor, in his case, also have a big role to play. So we'll see how these things will pan out. But other parties, they can as well feel their candidates for this election. But we'll see how that will be. But we know very well that in most local government elections, is always the ruling party in the state takes almost everything. It has been a pattern.
Are you aware of any promise made to these very mayors? Because looking at that very report as captured in the Tribune and New Telegraph, the reports are claiming that the 21 council mayors were promised automatic tickets if they delivered Governor Charles Soludo during the last gubernatorial election.
At no point I'm privy to such promise. The mayors are not even the one going to deliver the governor. The party in Anambra State has structure. Their structure, they are not the one delivering the governor. In fact, these structures have been there before they came in as mayors. So how are they going to deliver the governor? So they play their own role, not that they deliver the governor. So at no point I was privy to the fact that they were promised automatic tickets. By who? Who promised them? So if you look at that report, the report did not even indicate who promised them. Because if you say that they were promised automatic tickets, either they were promised by the party, and if you say they were promised by the party, on whose mouth did that come out from? At where? At what point? So these are speculations for me. They are just speculations.
Okay, so these are some of the teasers we have given you this very morning. Next will be for us to look at the headlines on various newspapers. But just to remind you that we are live on our Facebook page, Udala Radio Order 4.7 FM. Get on that very page and join this very conversation. You can share the video, like the page, and follow. On Instagram and the YouTube, we are Udala Radio on these platforms. Okay, so let's look at the paper this very morning on the Polity. You are listening to Udala Radio 4.7 FM. My name is Franklin Ibukan, and we go straight to the papers now. Looking at the headlines we have on the Nation newspaper, we have Sahara Group strategizes as reforms lift power sector 2026 outlook. The story is on page 3. And Sahara Group are saying that they plan to make some investment in the power sector, and they plan to increase generation up to 7,000 megawatts. So let's see what that is going to happen, because if that eventually happens, it's going to spell good for the power sector in Nigeria. This one says NROS chair, tax reforms will support sustainable growth. Laws not targeted at opposition figures. Federal government has been trying to explain things about this tax reform, and I must tell you that many Nigerians are yet to settle or buy into this because of the uncertainty surrounding what was passed and what was gazetted. Another headline says Wike Bashiru clash over reverse politics. It has a rider, minister leaves state alone. Party chief resign, face politics. That's on front page of the Nation. Another headline says stock market capitalization hits 101 trillion naira. The story is on page 3 of the Nation newspaper. Kwankwaso, Governor Yusuf pathways. The story is on page 2. It has a rider, federal lawmaker split. And of course, it's bound to happen, because if you have the leader and his progenitor, splitting in terms of political interest, of course, these foot soldiers are bound to also split. Arraigned Maduro, I'm president. The story is on page 30. I don't know whether you saw what happened yesterday when he was arraigned. He was still saying, I'm the president of Venezuela. The story is on page 30. Ondo Justice Ministry, 3 others lead in performance review. Check page 6 of the Nation newspaper. And this one says, Carlo, timeout for OT's government. The story is on page 5. Maybe one day we'll find time to talk about Carlo's aspiration to govern Abia State. In as much as he's trying to be diplomatic about it, but each time he talks, we get to see the fact that he has interest in taking over in that very state as the governor. Last time he told Oti to come over to APC that they are going to support him. But before then, he had tackled Oti saying that he was doing nothing. But when he was asked whether he has interest to govern the state, he said, as it stands now, I have no interest, until the party denies. So, just like maybe the life of a regular politician, at what point in time trying to deny, and then at one point in time trying to admit. And over to Vanguard newspaper. The headline here says, terrorists abduct passengers on busy Kwara highway. The story is on page 13. It has a rider, set police outposts ablaze in Niger. Residents flee communities in Agwara, Burgu local government areas after weekend's deadly attack by bandits. And the normalization of mass killing, Obi Taos AFJ. Above the nameplate, stock market crosses 100 trillion naira mark on strong early year deals. The story is on page 19 of Vanguard newspaper. They look at this very headline that says Trump sets sight on Greenland, threatens Cuba, Colombia, Mexico. The story can be seen on page 49 of the Vanguard newspaper, and it has some riders. Deposed Venezuelan leader pleads not guilty to narco-terrorism charges. U.S. President warns as Rodriguez is sworn in as new leader. Says worse fate awaits her if right thing isn't done. Okay. This one says over 33% of Nigerian immigrants in U.S. live on public benefits. Trump. The story is on page 8. How do we find that about? How do you find out more about this? From what Trump is saying, that 33% of Nigerians who are living in U.S. they live on public benefit. That means they don't have the wherewithal to fend for themselves. Then Super Eagles thrash Mambas 4-0, zoom into quarterfinals. The story is on page 6, and you see the picture of Osimhen. Tony has talked about what happened yesterday during that very match. Wike APC scribe on warpath. The story is on page 8. And guess what? They are on warpath over reverse issue. Then, that should be the last headline we have on the front page of Vanguard newspaper. We have to cross over to the next one, which is the Guardian newspaper, to see the headlines. And the big story here says tax reform risks sluggish, uncertain execution timelines over tardy NSW. The story is on page 6, is the big story on the front page. Maduro pleads not guilty in U.S. court, says I'm still president. Check page 2 of the Guardian newspaper. Venezuela treatment. Lesson to Nigeria. ADC warns Tinubu. Venezuela treatment. Lesson to Nigeria. ADC warns Tinubu. The story is on page 3. Osun APC accuses state government of inducing local government crisis. 6. NJC intervention. The story is on page 3. Tony, keep on asking questions. If courts cannot resolve issues in a very certain manner, then where lies our hope? Because this Osun local government crisis has gone to Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has given a judgment, yet nothing has been resolved. If courts can no longer resolve our issues, who do we run to resolve our issues? Or are we heading towards anarchy? Then this one says equity breaks 100 trillion naira barrier as 14 firms control 50% of market. The story is on page 17. Ondo courts shut down as judiciary workers begin indefinite strike. The story is on page 8. Southeast Southwest Alliance shortest route to Igbo presidency, says Carlo. Southeast Southwest Alliance shortest route to Igbo presidency, says Carlo. Would that be the truth? Would it be Southeast Southwest or Southeast Northwest or Southeast North Central? What would that be? The surest way for Igbos to be able to have a shot at the presidency. FG introduces new measures to curb WAEC NECO exam malpractices. The story is on page 8. I hope we have time so that we'll brush over this. Obi chides FG on killing spree over 40 slain in Niger. The story is on page 25. Then the last headline says APC draws battle line with Wike over reverse political control. The story is on page 6. And these are the headline stories we have on these very front pages of these newspapers. Next will be for us to bring you the analysis on this development. Stay with us.
You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
Of course, you're listening to the Polity on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. My name is Franklin Lebkanda. I'm with Dr. Tony Sambeki. Go to our Facebook page, Udala Radio 104.7 FM. You'll be able to watch the video live and then drop your comments as the program progresses. So, Tony, let's begin with beyond the shores of Nigeria. That's what is happening between U.S. and the Venezuela. It's no longer news that U.S. government led by Donald Trump, struck on Saturday, went into Venezuela and captured the president, Nicolas Maduro. As we speak, he's in New York. Yesterday, he was arraigned in court where he pleaded not guilty, and he was shouting that he's still the president. During his arraignment, we saw protests, pro and against. Some persons were protesting, offering support to Maduro, while some were protesting, praising U.S. for going into the country and rooting out what they called legitimate government. That same yesterday, Vice President Rodriguez was sworn in as the president of Venezuela. And before she was sworn in, she had initially said that what U.S. did in the country wasn't good. But when Trump threatened, she said Venezuela is open to cooperate with the U.S. to ensure that things are done the proper way. And latest we have heard is that Trump is saying, if you do not do the right thing, you might go the way of Maduro. In fact, a lot has been said. Yesterday at the UN, there were disagreements over what Trump did in Venezuela and what have you not. So that action he took has somehow divided the world. Some persons are with him, while some are against him by going into a sovereign country and uprooting the government of that very country. Some person says it was a coup that was engineered by Donald Trump. So for you, what are you thinking about what US did in Venezuela?
We know very well that what the United States of America did in Venezuela is nowhere written in any law. We know very well that it is not something that can be justified in any law. Venezuela is a sovereign nation. And being a sovereign nation, it has cover as far as international laws are concerned. So if you look at Maduro, of course, yesterday was in Manhattan District Court in New York. And when he was presented before the judge, you heard what he said. And what he said remains his thoughts, but would that be actually looked into? Because I looked at it from from different perspectives. He was saying that he's a kidnapped president of his country. In fact, he identified himself as the president of his country. And his wife identified herself as the first lady. So, for him, he feels that he was captured, kidnapped in his home in Caracas, and brought before this very court. One, he said he's an innocent man. Second, he said that the court has no legality of any sort to try him. And his attorney, Barry Pollack, also indicated that they would challenge the legality of his arrest, arguing that Maduro is immune from prosecution as a sovereign head of state, a defense used unsuccessfully by Panama's Manuel Loriga in the 90s, when similar thing happened to Panama's Manuel Loriga. So if you look around, you find out that the charges brought before him, there are many. One, every charge has to do with narcotics or narco-terrorism conspiracy, conspiring with designated terrorist organization to use cocaine trafficking as a weapon against the United States, and also conspiring to traffic thousands of tons of cocaine into the United States, and also conspiracy to possess and using machine guns and destructive devices to further the drug trafficking operations. So, in fact, if you look at U.S. prosecutors, they allege that Maduro and other high-ranking officials systematically transformed the Venezuelan state into a criminal enterprise for over 2 decades, providing safe haven, law enforcement cover, logistical support to drug cartels and terrorist groups like FARC, remember Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, and also the Tren Aragua, and also using diplomatic privileges such as providing passport and aircraft cover to facilitate drug trafficking and money laundering. And also allege that Maduro ordered violence, including kidnappings, beatings, and murders against those who interfered with the drug operations of his government, accepting bribes and using drug profits to corrupt state institutions and enrich himself and his family. If you look around some of these are offenses that he can't be tried in Venezuela. If US were discreet enough, if they wanted the sympathy of the world, what the US could have done would have been to, even after capturing him, and see if they can have hand on influence on Venezuelan legislation to bend some rule or to amend some rules so to allow Maduro to be tried in that very country. But in all of this, we've seen U.S. mission is to ensure that they cause regime change. That's the target of US, and they have achieved that, because it's going to be a long sojourn of Lego gymnastics. But Maduro, very well, it's a very dark day for him, because one thing people should know in this life is the fact that whatever you do, there seems to be an end to that. When he was in power, because the things will not change. I don't know if he's still in power. We saw the swearing in of his vice Rodriguez yesterday, but he has been there since 2013. And we've seen how he has oppressed opposition Opposition has no say. He has been causing all manner of murders, arrests, maiming, and to the point that over 10 million Venezuelans have migrated from Venezuela to other countries looking for greener pastures because of the collapse of the economy. Their currency tumbled. A country so dependent on oil, though, to the point that this is oil was subsidized to the point that yes, a common man can afford it, but there are shortages, essential shortages, food, drugs, and every other thing. People looking for, in fact, there's no work to be done. Productive sector in comatose, manufacturing sector dead, agricultural sector, things are not working because of his socialist ideology. And United States of America believes that countries with this socialist ideology, they are threats to the country, they are threat to United States of America.
Tony, do you think that the U.S. mission in Venezuela is altruistic, or is being driven by the interest of the U.S. in the oil in Venezuela? Don't forget that this issue or problem between U.S. and Venezuela, it didn't start under Maduro. In fact, when Hugo Chavez was in power, there was this also interest of America in Venezuela, and it ran for some time until Trump came. In fact, Trump came, Trump came with this mantra of America first. He said America was losing its grip, it was losing its position as a world power under Joe Biden, that he was coming to come and make America great again. And he came. And guess what? Trump came into power for the second term, I think barely less than a month after Maduro won his re-election, which was, I think that was 2013 that he won his re-election. And he won the election by a narrow margin. People who watched the election said the election was, it was marred by irregularities. And that put a question mark on his government. There were questions of legitimacy of that very government when he came. In fact, even before he was deposed. And now America has gone into this very country to remove sitting president. We have talked about whether U.S. has that very, or if there is any legal backing or any legal standing for U.S. to have gone to the country to do what it did. And he said there was none in international law. Now that mission, looking at what U.S. has alleged that is the problem, U.S. said that this man is in charge of a drug cartel which smuggles drug into U.S. And he's saying that America has to react to protect its interests. Is this mission altruistic, or Trump is trying to assume the position of the police of the world?
Of course, he's not assuming. That's what Trump sees himself. He sees United States of America as the country of the world. You remember that was what Germany, during the time of Adolf Hitler, they wanted to be that super country of the world where it controls the sweat of different sovereign nations with just key allies. He had allied then with Japan, Italy, remember Benito Mussolini, and so many other things. And remember how allied forces, and at the point Hitler thought that because of what happened to Germany in the First World War, how they conceded quite a lot of territories, how they were made not to produce arms and then their ammunition, so many things they conceded. Things were taken from them after the end of the First World War. As a result, they lost. And it was that nationalistic tendency burning in likes of Adolf Hitler. He rose to power, and then he tried to redeem what was not done rightly during the First World War. And we saw how he collaborated with Italy and Japan, trying to force themselves on the world, trying to capture France, capture Poland, and so many other things they did. Now, Trump could be another Hitler, but this time around, not for the issue of a communist agenda, but he is coming as a messiah, somebody who liberates the world. If you're prosecuting Christians, he comes after you. If you are doing any drug-related business, he comes after you. If you are oppressing your people, he comes after you. If you get into power through illegality, he will tell you that he will not recognize you, and he will cause regime change. As we speak now, it's not just Venezuela alone. Are you not aware that Trump is also targeting Colombia. Look at what he called the president, Gustavo Petro. He called him a sick man who involved himself in cocaine production, and he also stated that Operation Colombia sounds so good. So what that tells you is that he's coming after Gustavo Petro. He talked about Mexico. Of course, he had issued trades, and his trades focused more on drug cartels, with suggestions of drone strikes inside Mexican territory and warnings that to get their acts together or legs, he will come for them. But remember, he told them, I have given you this offer to help in rooting out cartels. But Mexico felt that we are a sovereign nation. Not just Mexico. What about Cuba? In fact, he described Cuba as a ready-to-fall country, that the country will fall on its own, with implication that the country, the U.S. intervention could follow if needed. So the threat is also building up for Cuba. Look at Greenland. Are you aware? Because I'm concerned about that Greenland, because they're going to get themselves into a big problem with Denmark. Because if you look at Greenland is just an autonomous territory of Denmark, but we know its position in the world map, very close to the Arctic. But Trump has repeatedly said that they would annex that very autonomous territory of Denmark. So he has retreated these interests, but Danish officials have strongly rejected this. We saw what is going on in Iran. He has warned Iran. In fact, Ayatollah Khamenei hasn't been talking since Trump has shown some serious concern about regime change in that very country. In fact, they have gone on the belly. Are you talking about Panama? He made a veiled threat which related to regional control. But invasion references, he hinted, could also come in Panama. Remember the Panama Canal? He said he wouldn't remain that canal would not, because he felt that China has been using that canal for its transatlantic businesses. And how can a country close to the United States of America, China all the way, because we know how China helped in building that canal, the Panama Canal. It has been a source of problem for a very long time. And we've known the U.S. also investment in that very canal. But for Trump, you take it by force. Trump does not believe in diplomatic or approach or dialogue approach. If you've got the muscle, if you've got the power, take whatever you think you can take.
Okay, Tony, you see, you have mentioned a whole lot about Trump, because ever since he came into power, we know that he has stirred so much controversy. In fact, when he even came with the whole of reciprocal tariff, we know how the world reacted. And now it's now his interest in Venezuela. Now, looking at what has been playing out, do you think Trump is protecting the interests of the world, or he's furthering the interests of the U.S. and trying to cement its position as the world power, knowing that they have always been in this rivalry with China, Russia, and some other countries? Then the number second question is this issue of trying to annex Greenland. NATO has some ally with Denmark, and NATO has even spoken about this. We know the relationship when it comes to international politics and international power. Somebody said that Trump might be the person to engineer the third war. Do you think so?
The truth is, there are so many countries that are allies to the United States of America. So for you to cause third world war, you must look at certain factors. Trump has got so many Western countries on their side. Many Western countries, UK, Germany, there's many of them. Brazil. So there are so many countries, even India. On the side of United States of America has more friends than enemies. So it will be very difficult for you to cause third world war, especially when you've got many friends than enemies. As we speak, United States of America is the United Nations Security Council. So Trump, we know very well, for academics anyway, we know we have 10 non-permanent members and also 5 permanent members of United Nations Security Council, and they know their responsibility. Their responsibility is majorly in maintaining world peace, but that has been hijacked by United States of America. So I've not seen how the council, which is responsible for maintaining international peace and security, which also has power to impose sanctions and also authorize military action. In fact, that action or that responsibility of United Nations Security Council has been hijacked by the United States. If you look at non-permanent members, look at them. Bahrain. You look at Colombia. Colombia is also a non-permanent member. As I'm talking about non-permanent members as of January 2026, these are members that have term. They have their term which ends, and then another country will be elected into the non-permanent member Security Council. If you look at Democratic Republic of Congo, these people, their terms will end in 2027. Even Denmark is currently there. Greece, Latvia, Liberia, Pakistan, even Panama and Somalia. Some of these countries who are members or non-permanent members of United Nations Security Council, they are also being threatened by Trump. So can they activate any clause in that Security Council to ensure protection? But that is far by the way.
Okay,
So
do you think that Trump is protecting the interests of the world, or he's furthering America's interest in these countries and at the same time trying to send a message that it remains the most powerful country of the world to the likes of China and Russia?
Of course, that's what it is. If you look at the 5 permanent members of United Nations Security Council, US has just problem with 2 of them. So if they go by voting, but then once anybody vetoes, nothing works. So it's not by voting whereby you are 5, 3 against 2. No, they don't do that. Once a member vetoes any plan, nothing works. So apart from China and Russia, which they have formed some kind of alliance, China and Russia have formed an alliance, and to the detriment of United States of America, because China was once on the side of United States of America, but what started the whole problem was issue of economic war. China trying to boost its production to compete with the United States of America from a communist country, all of a sudden getting into capitalism, trying to outdo the United States of America. And they say, no, China is a threat to our economy expansion. Many countries come to buy from us, but all this why they have been buying from China. That's why China, as we speak today, has an economy of about 12 to 13 trillion US dollars, as against US having about 24 trillion US dollars as their GDP. So the issue is, if you look at Russia, in all of these things going on, China has shown support for Russia because they believe that they can partner together to come against US. Look at BRICS. They have been trying to do much of a business bargaining against the US. But in all of this, just like I said earlier on, US has more friends than enemy to trigger a third world war. And for Trump, he comes with 2 swords. One, a liberator and protector of the world. Second, to advance US interests. I think the most intriguing part of it is the advancement of U.S. interests. For U.S. to be what it is, it must oppose socialism, communism. These things, they are against U.S. economic advancement. So, because for them, where a country controls the machinery of production, distribution, and the state institutions and manufacturing sector, it will not make U.S. to break through because they rely on free enterprise, open market, for them to have their inroad, their incursion. So the countries that operate these things, US see them as in fact as a threat, and that's why it has been going against Colombia, going against Venezuela, some of these countries, because of their ideological conflict. But in all of this, US for Trump, I remember how President James invaded Mexico and took almost all the territories of Mexico. There was a time they believed in U.S. Expansion manifest, that they are endowed to expand. Most of the states in the United States of America, they come from Mexico. Some of these states, California, San Diego, San Francisco, if you look at their names, it's also these names of names of a Latin American country. But the point I'm trying to make is that is coming back in the times of Trump, and he has referenced some of these past presidents that went to take territories, take possessions of other countries' land. So Trump is believing that he is keen in that line. Look at threatening to take over Greenland from Denmark, and you think it cannot happen. And the other countries that are threatening to take over, because some of these presidents, remember, once Philippines was under United States of America, until there was a revolution in Philippines and they got themselves, and the U.S. handed Philippines back to them. So the point is, as we speak today, Are you not also aware that there are some countries, United States of America, they are also controlling? So when they preach about democracy, also ask them how democratic are they in their own cause?
All right, so that's the question that is left for people to answer, because now we're going for commercial break. After the break, we move over to what is happening in River State, because a lot has come out, and there seems to be some disquiet. Okay, let's seems to be some persons who are now uncomfortable with what the Minister of the FCT, Yeson Wike, has been doing, and they are beginning to voice out. So is it time up for Wike, or he'll still be able to make more incursions or make more controls in River State? Stay with us to Brad back.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Asaba, the capital city of Delta State, will experience the tremendous movement of the Holy Spirit as great men and women of God storm Asaba in a 3-day powerful prayer session led by His Eminence, the Most Reverend Dr. Daniel Oko, the Archbishop of Christ Holy Church International, and the President, Christian Association of Nigeria. TAG 2026 Prayer Summit. 2026 Prayer Summit is well packaged for your salvation, deliverance, healing, open doors, protection, and all-round fruitfulness. Date, Wednesday 7th to Friday 9th January 2026. Time, 10 a.m. daily. Venue, Christ Holy Church International Campground, near B Division Police Station, along Asaba Benin Expressway, Asaba, Delta State, Nigeria. There is no better way to start the new year than to start with the Lord Jesus Christ. Powered by Christ Holy Church International, also known as the Nation Builders. Odozobodo. You are
Please listen to this important information on your good health. Do you know that many deaths nowadays are caused by ignorance on drug abuse? Do you know that many males and females now resort to the consumption of unhygienic concoctions for the treatment of various diseases? Do you know that some even take their lab results to traditional healers for interpretation? Now listen, abuse of scientific or traditional drug destroys the body system mechanism and it kills. Consumption of expired, adulterated, substandard and unpasteurized traditional herbal mixture could lead to health complications. So detoxification of the body and restoration of the functional organs is always necessary for your good health.
This message is sponsored by Anti-Drug Abuse Incorporated Headquarters, Annex Sunshine Hospital, number 4 Obanye Street, Onitsha, Anambra State, Nigeria. 08033206819.
Drug abuse is an enemy to your good health. Be warned.
Join Anti-Drug Abuse Health Education every Wednesday by 8:45 a.m. on Udala Radio 104.7 FM Onitsha.
As the year draws to a close, we pause not just as a radio station, but as a grateful partner to say thank you. Thank you for believing in our voice. Thank you for trusting our platform. And thank you for choosing to grow with us throughout this year. From the beginning of this year to its final days, your support kept our microphones on, our programs impactful, and our community connected. Your patronage was more than business. It was confidence. It was partnership. At this moment, we sincerely appreciate Winners Global Estate, Celebrity Landlady, and Anti-Drug Organization. We say thank you to Wendy's Bread, Baboyo Herbal, Olojugu Microfinance Bank, and their real homes. Our gratitude also goes to Crystal Garden Estate, Fazona Real Estate, Best Aluminium, Microfinance Bank, and Choose Star and Correct Star Wire. We acknowledge the support of Astridge Assets, Waskana Solar, the Enugu Electricity Distribution Company, EEDC, Higher Ground Real Estate, Zenapex, and Christ Embassy. We also appreciate the Onitsha North Local Government and the Anambra State Government for their trust and collaboration. As we step into a new year, we do so with renewed commitment, fresh energy, and a promise to serve you even better. Thank you for an amazing year. We look forward to greater partnerships, greater impact, and greater success together in the year ahead. Because together, we are Udala. 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
From the commercial city of Onitsha comes Udala Radio 104.7 FM, the voice of the region. Where authentic news and entertainment meet. Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
Okay, so thank you for staying tuned to the Radio 4.7 FM. You're listening to the Polity. My name is Franklin Bekandan with Dr. Tony Zambeki. We have brought you the headlines on 4 newspapers, and at this point in time, we are taking an analysis. We just finished discussion on what U.S. is doing in Venezuela, and for us to come back home now and look at what has been happening in River State, because if you look at the papers this very morning, the 4 of them were reviewed. They all have headlines on what is happening in River State. And the latest has been, should I say the two of that, between Wike and APC National Secretary, talking about Senator Bashiru. If we're going to trace the genesis of this round of problem, it was about during an event in River State, and the APC chairman in South, one Gaidon, he made a comment that was critical of the governor of River State. In fact, when he was speaking, he made reference to Fubara as the so-called governor. And that statement didn't go down well with the APC National Secretary. And he issued a statement saying that somebody in the caliber of Gaidam shouldn't be speaking in that very manner. Of course, Gaidam is an APC, leadership, and he should accord some respect to the office of the governor of River State, or any governor elsewhere should be accorded some respect. And after he made that statement, Wike reacted, saying that they should tell the man to stay clear of River State. Perhaps he's eyeing the 600 billion naira in the coffers of River State and other things he said. And he said if he didn't stay clear, that what happened to others might happen to him. And yesterday, Bashir reacted, and he said a lot of things. In fact, he asked Wike to resign. If he's so much concerned about what's River State politics, he should resign as a minister and go to River State and concentrate on Rivers politics. But Tony, where we are headed now is, if you look at the headline on Punch, you will see that Punch is reporting that many APC governors are on the side of Fubara, and they have offered their backing. Now, if you also trace what has been happening in Rivers, you see that aside from apart from APC governors, there are some stalwarts in the APC who have also either tacitly or directly expressed their support for Fubara. Take, for instance, APC National Chairman had made reference to the point that Fubara remains party leader in River State since he joined the APC. Then we saw how Rebado visited, Wike spoke. Then Bashiru, who is the APC National Secretary, he also spoke, backing Fubara. And there are some other persons who have also spoken, backing Fubara as the APC leader in that very state. And this is not going down well with the Minister of the FCT, who happens to have assumed the power or assumed the position of the APC leader and PDP leader in that very state. Now let's look at the issues now. First, let's look at this renewed battle or renewed hostility between him and Fubara before we now get to other issues. Some persons are reporting that why they are having this resumed hostility is because of disagreement on how the budget of the River State should be done. Tony, what do you know about this?
It's not about the budget. It's about the control. It's about ambition. It's about supremacy. I think it's just these, 3 things. Supremacy battle between Wike and Fubara. Ambition. Fubara wants to go for re-election, which Wike says no. And the third one, who has control of the party structure, of which Wike has told Fubara, you don't have that. If you look at their statements will point to some of these things. If you look at the one Mr. Wike made on December 31st, 2025, when he visited Thai local government as one of his, according to him, thank you visit to some of these local governments, which for me is no thank you visit, it's just mobilization visit. So he said, I think he was referring to Fubara. He said, let me take the one he said when he visited Thai, but then he said after agreeing on something, you renege and you think you are a smart politician. You are clever by half. Very soon we will let river people know what we agreed before Mr. President. If you can renege on what we agreed before Mr. President, then who are we? Look at this. That was the statement made by Wike on 31st December 2025 when he visited Thai local government. Okay, look at the one he made on January 2nd, 2026 when he visited Oba, Egbema, Ndoni. And when he was telling Fubara, someone who cannot relate with the local government chairman, state assembly members, national assembly members, and other stakeholders cannot provide good leadership. Money cannot solve this problem. Tell the river people what we discussed with the president. There cannot be two captains in one ship. Just mark that word. What does that tell you? Supremacy. You can't context anything with me. Look at what Gaidam, remember Gaidam, Victor Gaidam, is from Gukana local government. He said, whatever you want, Fubara, go through Wike. Whatever you want to context, go through Wike. And he mentioned, and he also referred to the so-called governor, which he also referenced the other time. So, and he went further to say, apart from the fact that there can never be two captains in one ship. So whoever is assuring you that when you shout on your mandate that all is well, then you are wrong. So he went further. That was his statement at that very local government. If you also look at the statement he made recently, I think that was the one he made yesterday. He was in Okrika yesterday, if I can get that right. He was in Okrika local government yesterday. So he said, we have made a decision so far as to be concerned. The other one, that is referring to Fubara re-election. No way! Because if we make another mistake, then we go and bury ourselves politically. I will not allow myself to be buried. I will not allow that mistake again. So everybody should know we have made a decision. He made this very statement yesterday when he visited Okrika local government area. So we can tell from all these statements, even the ones he made on the 1st, the ones he made on September. So a lot, but you mentioned the one of appropriation bill briefing. He was, making this statement. He said, I think I can recall. I went and said, I assure you that as soon as we conclude work on the 2026 budget with education giving greater priority, we will address quite a lot of things. But if you look at Fubara, I think Fubara was making a statement 2 days ago. And one thing about Fubara, he knows how to get on Wike's nerves. Yes, there is a renewed hostility. There is a renewed rivalry. But one would ask, where is Fubara getting his stamina from? Where is he getting the stamina from? Because Wike had told him that if you shout on your mandate, we stand, that all is well. You are wrong. That's what Wike told him. Fubara has got the support of some APC governors who may be silent now, but they have told him that go on well with you. So before now, Fubara does not talk back at Wike after or since emergency rule was declared. He hardly respond to Wike, but if you watch recently, he has started responding to Wike. He said, and I quote, that there are those who knows how to dance. There are those who can sing. There are, but us, we don't know how to dance. He was making reference to Wike's dancing and stuff like that. So the whole thing is, Wike may have shot himself on the foot. How? Wike is permutating Samuel Anyanwu, his stooge, to run for governor of Imo State again. The same governor that brought Samuel Anyanwu into trouble. Remember, he had resigned from PDP to go and contest for governorship of Imo State, only to lose to Hope Uzodinma and come back to pick up his national secretary. And the party reminded him that you have resigned. And he said he never resigned, that he went on leave. So you can imagine that. And it was one of the things used. And we can remind others that there had been others who had done the same thing, but they never left their position. Why would Samuel Anyanwu leave his own position? That is another issue on its own. Now, coming back to the issue, it is also understood that Wike is permutating, trying to figure out Samuel Anyanwu to also run for governor of Imo State without the imprimatur, without the consent of Hope Uzodinma, who is the chairman of All Progressives Governors Forum.
And the Hope Uzodinma has, I think he has a ground in this very government, because I think Mr. President holds him to a very high esteem.
Definitely. We know very well. Let me say this. Mr. President is the giver of APC governorship tickets. He's the giver. Anybody that tells you anything is joking. But there are those who could influence him. There are those who can also influence him. I don't even understand me. There are those who have this influence on him, on whom the whole thing would go. And we've known those people to be likes of Bojabemila. But over time, since we had a peku about Bojabemila, he hasn't been talking.
Yeah, whether he's going to be dropped or not.
That is it. He hasn't been talking. So the person who talks more often now than not is Badu and George Akume, and also the private secretary. But that is aside. Now, coming back to this, we understand that Hope Uzodinma is rallying APC governors against Wike. If you look at Bashiru from Ondo State, a senator, a former serving senator, he had said he was in River State, and they made a statement saying, how can Gaidam vice chairman refer to a governor as a so-called governor? Because of what? And Wike slapped back immediately and asked him, day your day, make I day my day. Don't enter my domot with your problem. See, you are enjoying. Wike reference to him, and he told him that you are now the national secretary of APC. You don't know those who did the work, and now you are enjoying. You better respect yourself. So, but Bachori made a statement. In fact, he released a statement. He signed that very statement. And he made Wike to know that he is not a member of APC. That being a member of another political party, you have no say in APC affair. If you think you have control of River State, the National Working Committee of APC, they have the last say. And remember, one thing Wike should know is this. In party structure, it is the national chairman and the national secretary. These are the two persons that sign nomination forms of a candidate, even if that candidate comes from a primary. These are the two. And you remember the Supreme Court has always said, issue of nomination remains internal affairs of the party. Right. So, if the NWC of APC, which Wike has no influence on, as against what he has been doing in PDP, if they rally behind Mr. President and decide that it's going to be Fubara, it's going to be Fubara. If Hope Uzodinma does his work very well, but just like I said, the president decides if Fubara will not Wike, because whoever the president decides, just like we saw in the case of Oshun, even we saw how the Minister of Marine Economy, the former governor of the state, how he saw how he backed out, because the president has designated it to the current flag bearer of the party. So, in all of this, Fubara has got a renewed energy, not a renewed hope, in his fight against Wike, drawn from the support the governors have given to him and what they have told him. They told him, match this man, we are behind you.
Okay, so let's now see where Wike is getting his own energy, because he also has some energy he is operating on. And the first question I want to ask here is, if you look at River State now, Wike has control on both the APC and PDP in River State. Okay, let's say he has control on PDP and he has a reasonable control on the APC. If you talk about who is the APC chairman in River State, exactly, who speaks the language of Wike.
Yeah.
If you ask of who is the PDP chairman in River State, I think they have two persons who are claiming to the leadership of that very party in that very state. You talk about the APC chairman in South, is a Wike's man. So we can say that he has a reasonable control on these two parties. And the question is, how did he do that? What is that wow factor that Wike has been riding on? Is he riding on the fact he believes that President is supporting him in what he's doing?
I think why he is doing what he's doing, just like you said, one, the support Mr. President has given him. He has assured Mr. President that he's going to deliver River State to him, that Fubara lacks the capacity to deliver River State. If you give him the structure that Fubara cannot deliver the River State, he's just moving around showing Mr. President his capacity. All these visits is a show to Mr. President. If you look at these visits, in most of these local governments, you see the crowd that turns out in those of his, these visits he's making. Wike is trying to show the president his capacity, why he should trust him with the control and structure of the party in River State, not Fubara. That's what he's trying to do.
So what embodies him? Did he get any promise anywhere, or he's working on the fact that he was able to do something for Mr. President in the last election, and perhaps Mr. President might trust him to do this again? Because I'm wondering what fuels or what embodies Wike's garrulousness, the braggadocio, the all-knowing man, the assumption of the status of a power broker, the political juggernaut of this very world.
Wike is fighting his political survival battle. That's what he's fighting. Many may not even know this. Wike is trying to show how relevant he's still in politics. Look at this. He said it openly that if he allows Fubara back, he is buried. In fact, he's politically dead and will be buried. What it means that he will have no more control. If Fubara goes for election, wins election on his own, Wike will have no control. And if Fubara chose Mr. President, he can deliver him and possibly work for Mr. President. And who is Wike again? And if Mr. President takes off the ministerial position he has given to Wike, what Wike will do now, he will tell Mr. President, I'll work against you. And you dare not work against Mr. President because EFCC will pick you up. So, what is giving Wike this braggadocio? He's fighting for his personal battle. He knows, and he told his comrade, he told his lieutenants, if we allow this man, Fubara again, we are all gone. You see, our own. And you're not aware that Wike is positioning his son, 25-year-old boy, to run for Obiakpo Federal Constituency. Are you not aware? They have started consultation. And these are things that are really annoying some APC governors. Okay, so are you a political deity in that very state?
So for the APC stalwart, do you think that they are becoming comfortable with Wike and they are thinking of how do we find a way to whittle his power and ease him out of the system? Because looking at the recent things that have happened, I mentioned before that National Chairman of the APC, Uwada, he had mentioned that Fubara remains the party leader in that very state against what Wike believes that it should be. We have also heard from Vice President Kashimi Shettima re-echoing the same thing. And we have now had Basiru, a member of National Working Committee of the party, also speaking in that same manner. And we also understand that there are some other members of the APC National Working Committee who are also speaking the language of others, trying to say when Wike is trying to assume the position that he does not in any way have a local standing to assume. So now that we are seeing what is happening, does that mean that APC stalwarts are becoming uncomfortable and perhaps they're trying to find a way to whittle his power and ease him out of the system? Take, for instance, yesterday, Mr. President also made some appointment where he appointed Magnus Abi as the board chairman of NOU PRC. So, do you think Mr. President is also trying to widen his political presence in River State by trying to consider others for appointment in that very state?
Magnus Abe is a close political ally to Wike. Yeah. And if you look at one of the rallies, the one they had in Okrika, Wike, he was there. Wike was congratulating him. So, and Wike also told Bashiru, if you do not take time, what happened to others will happen to you. And what happened to others? Look at the Minister of Defense, Badaru. He made statements against Wike. Before you know it, he was removed as a minister. So, and Wike told him, if you burn your hand, don't talk say that me burn my hand. There is this grip Wike has on Mr. President. And this grip, many APC governors are uncomfortable with it. I don't know. Many APC governors, and they don't want to speak out. Even the members of National Working Committee of APC, they are not happy with Wike. Governors of APC are not happy with Wike, but Wike holds Mr. President. And for Wike, all he cares is to hold Mr. President and forget what every other person thinks, because Mr. President is the one who decides what happened. And he has this feeling that, and many of them have this feeling that if they talk, they will lose their position. And Bashiru said...
So those who are talking now, are they testing the waters to see how Mr. President is going to
Definitely.
react?
And if you look at... Bashiru said that he fought the military. He has shown integrity. And the Wike saying that he is interested in 600 billion and all that, that he's just making a rant. And he says that he's not afraid of anything. So, for Bashiru, he has thrown his heart in the ring. He's not afraid of anything. The worst that would happen would be that Mr. President will relieve me of my position if he so thinks. But one thing must be said, that you cannot have overriding influence. And if Mr. President is not careful, Wike will cause a lot of disaffection between him and those who has given him loyalty over time. So he has to know how to mirror into things. And let me say this, if Mr. President gives his structure, the APC structure, to Fubara will deliver him. Because if you look at Fubara movements, we have seen crowd as well. So both of them are showing Mr. President their capacity. Mr. Fubara goes all out with his own band and with the crowd following him. Wike goes all out with his own band and with crowd following him. So they are all showing their capacity.
So do you think that Mr. President is oiling the engine of Fubara? Because by the virtue of political appointment he has given to people who are close to Wike, it appears that he's comfortable with him.
That is what it appears. That's another thing I've just said. He just gave one yesterday to Magnus Abe. And has he given any political appointment to anybody Fubara nominates? Fubara has not nominated anybody. Mr. President has given any political appointment. So Fubara is hoping on APC governors and the members of National Working Committee to change the tide for him. Whereas Wike believes so much he owes Mr. President. So with Mr. President, nothing he fears. But the battle has just begun. There are far way to go in this battle. One thing Wike will emphatically accept leaving the ministerial position than allowing Fubara to run for re-election. Fubara will run for re-election, but the question is on which political platform? Because even if APC denies him ticket, he can go into another party and also test his water. But being that Amopiton is there and Mr. President has interest in that state, can he make it? But it's better that he tries his luck. Test the water. Many Nigerians are not supporting Fubara as they used to because of the disappointment Fubara has given them. But we understand that the man was also fighting for his political survival, and that he has got with a renewed energy to fight Wike. The battle, just like I said, has just begun.
Okay, so let the battle continues. We have to go for commercial break, and after now, we take your call. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Udala Radio, 104.7 FM.
Quality bread, Wendy's bread, for your family breakfast. Wendy's bread, I'll pack it on the Dosialo. Wendy's bread, Mama, Papa, they like Wendy's bread, Chicken and duo. Wendy's bread, even children, they like Wendy's bread, Wendy's bread, and in town. Wendy's bread, you get it better, tasty, we go sweet your belly. Wendy's bread, Wendy's your bachichoma. Wendy's bread,
Wendy's bread, tasty bread. You can contact us on our official address, 2nd Business Park, Enugu Road, GRA, beside Onitsha, Anambra State. We also have another branch at St. Michael Plaza at Tandy Road. Also contact us on 070-1149-1571. Wendy's bread, your tasty bread.
Wendy's bread.
Public notice. The governor of Anambra State, Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo, CFR, has set up an ESCO committee for the recovery of all government land at Otumoye Creek, Onitsha, in Onitsha South local government area of Anambra State. All persons purportedly laying claim to all those parcels or plots of land located at Otumoye Creek, Onitsha, are by this notice requested to submit the following documents to the office of the Commissioner for Lands. 1. Allocation letter. 2. Certificate of occupancy. 3. building plan approval, and 4. Any other relevant documents conferring ownership of such plots of land to the individual. All documents are to be submitted in 2 sets within 14 working days from the date this notice was first published. No submission will be received or attended to after the expiration of the said 14 working days. Signed, Mrs. Nkiru Mokwe, Esquire, Permanent Secretary for Commissioner for Lands. As the year draws to a close, we pause not just as a radio station, but as a grateful partner to say thank you. Thank you for believing in our voice. Thank you for trusting our platform. And thank you for choosing to grow with us throughout this year. From the beginning of this year to its final days, your support kept our microphones on, our programs impactful, and our community connected. Your patronage was more than business. It was confidence. It was partnership. At this moment, we sincerely appreciate Winners Global Estate, Celebrity Landlady, and Anti-Drug Organization. We say thank you to Wendy's Bread, Baboyo Herbal, Olojugu Microfinance Bank, and The Real Homes. Our gratitude also goes to Crystal Garden Estate, Fazona Real Estate, Best Aluminium, Microfinance Bank, and Choose Star and Correct Star Wire. We acknowledge the support of Astridge Assets, Waskana Solar, the Enugu Electricity Distribution Company, EEDC, Higher Ground Real Estate, Zenapex, and Christ Embassy. We also appreciate the Onitsha North Local Government and the Anambra State Government for their trust and collaboration. As we step into a new year, we do so with renewed commitment, fresh energy, and a promise to serve you even better. Thank you for an amazing year. We look forward to greater partnerships, greater impact, and greater success together in the year ahead. Because together, we are Udala. 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic. .7 Udala Radio.
You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
Okay, so thank you for staying tuned to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. It's 10:33 a.m. and you are listening to The Polity. My name is Franklin Ebekana. I'm with Tony Lisambeki this very morning, this very program. Okay, we're going to open our phone lines, but just to prompt you, because if you look at these very headlines on the Ghana newspaper, you see the one talking about, Peter B speaking on the killings in Niger State, and it happened the day that we recorded another issue of security breach somewhere in Kwara State, because terrorists abducted passengers on busy Kwara Highway. I think about 4 persons were abducted. And now that you have mentioned Peter B, he's been in the news, and there is very rumor circulating that former President Olusegun Obasanjo has his hand and trying to see whether he can midwife an alliance between Obi and Rabi Kwankwaso, where they can run on the same ticket. Tony?
It's very, very interesting. In fact, those who had wanted Obi to run for president and also be on the ballot as the presidential candidate of any political party will like this news, because it's everywhere that Obasanjo is engineering that combo where Obi will be the candidate of the party, presidential candidate, and then Kwankwaso, Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, will run as running mate. Kwankwaso was the other day saying that he's ready to accept running as a vice president. I think there was a way he put it, that if he can't run for president, he's ready to accept going for vice president. And we are aware right now that Obasanjo is engineering that as against Atiku Abubakar, who he thinks age has caught up with him. Obasanjo believes that Atiku is too old to govern Nigeria, and that is why he is trying to bring Obi and Kwankwaso together. But if you look at the political dynamics, the North, would they accept that? Because North will tell you it's better to wait for 4 more years than to wait for 80 years, because you cannot assure
apart from the question of whether the North will accept it, Obasanjo had tried to do something ever since he left office politically, and he has failed several times. In fact, if you're talking about those who have tried to engineer coalition, you can mention him, and he hasn't succeeded. So this time around, what is going to be the difference?
We have seen Obasanjo making a lot of trials and keeps failing, but if you ask me, has Kwankwaso that clout in the entire northeast, northwest geopolitical zone that can muster that very vote for Obi? If Obi could also, because Obi could pull the string from southeast and south, leave southwest for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, southeast and south, Obi needs that part of the north to actually put him in that threshold. But just like we've said many times, Kwankwaso is losing his grip. He's losing his grip in Kano. He's losing his grip because his protege is about to join APC if they have parted ways. So with that alone, now he's looking for survivor, and the only way he wants to survive is to attach himself to Obi. So if you look at it, some are looking at it from that perspective. But for so many people, Atiku represents that very person that would give Obi what he wants. Aisha Yusufu has come out yesterday to say if Obi runs as vice president, he will work against him. You know, Aisha Yusufu, the one that usually supports Obi, she said if Obi becomes vice president to anybody as a candidate, that she will work against Obi. She will mobilize against Obi. That all they want is for Obi to be the president. But we keep looking around because Atiku is not also letting off. He is not letting off. So Obi is in ADC. Atiku is in ADC. Kwankwaso is about to move to ADC as his protege is about to move to APC. Everybody's making alignment, realignment, political survival battle for some, and some trying to make advancements, make inroad in their political pursuits.
Okay, so we are going to see whether this very permutation is going to work, because for anybody who has been a political watcher or follower in Nigeria, the person will know that Kwankwaso seems to have some element of uncomfortability around Obi, judging by what he said in the past election. So let's see how this one goes. 0803-221-6973 or 0803-827-6694. Let's get to hear from you. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's beautiful morning. It's beautiful for me.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You're welcome.
My friend Franklin, where's my lady?
She will be here tomorrow.
Okay. My fondest. Be that as it may, I'm beginning to enjoy politics the way it should be. If, for any reason, Papa Obasanjo succeeds, it will be simply superlative, because the Pampasina group is not a group to be underrated or underestimated across the northern part of the country. Because it has a lot of youthful population of the north, and it's a youthful population that is bearing the brunt of the situation we find ourselves in. So we encourage them, and then of course, like Aisha said, yes, I mean, obedience to be now. No, man, we don't go call her. We don't call her. But the point is that we are working hard, like we did during the last election. We are talking to the younger Nigerians to come take over their country. We must take cognizance of the fact that our country is in a mess, and we must bring it out and put it where it should be. And we've selected the best person among the laws that will run for our presidency next session. We don't have to talk down on the present administration. After all, they've invited Donald Trump here to come take over because of the security issue. Imagine, how can a sitting president ask another president to come to my country, come and help me, because the miscreants that we call these people, they are coming and they're killing people, stealing people. No. Come, what the president does that? Is he to continue as a president?
Right.
No, he's not. So let's get someone that is fit, capable, that has it unadulterated. Yes, someone that is not terribly, you come and say, I'm Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba. No, we want a Nigerian. A Nigerian. That's what we want. Yes.
All right.
A Nigerian. No matter. So long as he is the best. Of course, there are other severe matters to add. But now, what we need is somebody to rescue our country.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Hello. Good morning.
Thank you.
Yes,
Mr. Franklin.
Your name?
Monday. Johnson. Mr. Speaker, Tony Mbeki. Good morning.
You're welcome. It's good to have you.
And I wish you both Happy New Year.
We wish you the same.
I want to ask two questions.
Okay. Monday Johnson. Monday Johnson.
Yes,
hold on. Okay.
I'm doing that.
Yes. Okay. Could you walk away from your radio set?
I have done that already.
All right. Thank you very much.
I want to ask some questions where Mr. Speaker talked about what Trump is fighting for. He actually mentioned about socialism. That these countries, that their president has this political ideology, that Trump is not comfortable with it. And we know, in Nigeria here, I can boldly say that in our presidential elections, America in particular have played an unseen role. I say unseen role so that people will not misconstrue me. Those who are politically inclined and observant will actually know that America has played notable and recommendable role in deciding who becomes the president of this country. I want to ask you a question, Dr. Mbeki. Obi, I've studied his political ideology. I can say that Obi is a socialist, but I'm not clear on that. So I want to ask you, can you please tell us the political ideology of Mr. Peter Obi? That is number one question. Number two, I listened to Professor Ajimobi, I think Ajimbola, sorry, last night when he talked about sovereignty. He classifies it. He said there is legal sovereignty and there is power sovereignty. And when he was asked about Nigeria, because whatever we are talking about the world, we should bring Nigeria into the picture because this is where we belong. And I want to ask you, Tony, talking about sovereignty, it was last night I came to that understanding about the legal sovereignty and power sovereignty. We can boldly say Nigeria has that legal sovereignty, but when it comes to power sovereignty, I want to ask you, Dr. Mbeki, is Nigeria, do we have that power sovereignty? Good morning.
All right, good morning, Monday Johnson. Thank you for the questions. They will be addressed in due course. Okay, I'll try again to get connected. Let's get to talk 0803 221 6973 or 0803 827 6694. Good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
Good morning. Your name?
Good morning, my speaker, Tony Mbeki.
You're welcome.
Happy New Year.
Thank you so much.
This is the voice of Honorable Ignatius Okoye from Oration Kingdom.
Go on, sir.
Until you have said it all, in your analysis concerning weak struggling. Yesterday, I was watching the whole system, the whole thing in my TV, hearing what he's saying. I told my wife, this man is trying to show president that he's capable. And he said exactly the same thing. All this that he's trying to do is to show the president that I'm able to give you River State. But he said to know that if governors gang against him, he cannot do anything. And president will be to let him know that if governors be against the president, president will fail. And we can bring problems into APC. So the best thing for him is to sit down. Alabara. I heard what some people say. And if we can, Alabara, if I said that in a political setting, Fubara, people will vote for Fubara more than we can. The person we can protest. People will not vote him. Because he has done able to River State. All these people, if you watch that program yesterday, I told my, because when they call people to come and say something about weekend, I said, clap for that what is happening. All those who are benefiting from him are trying to uplift Wike as he something in River State.
All right.
Time shall tell. Let us watch and see what is happening.
Okay.
Thank you, my speaker. I'm done.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for joining. Good morning. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Your name?
Good morning.
Good morning. We can hear you.
This is Michael from Onitsha.
Go on, Mr. Michael.
My contribution. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you, Mr. Michael. Go on.
My contribution, what Trump is doing, I am not in support of it. Because you cannot go to somebody's country and arrest the president, handcuff him, show him to the world, disgrace him like a criminal. A lot of countries in Latin America, they are not happy. That strike America went to do in Venezuela, Colombia lost almost 40 of their citizens. They are angry. Colombia president is just breaking news now. He's saying it. One of the satellite stations, I don't want to call the name of the station. He says if America ever tried, Colombia is not as cheap as Venezuela. It will lead to war because they are ready. They will not come and get anybody in Colombia and just go out like that freely. And if you look at the setting in the military, the Colombia have a better army than Venezuela. Venezuela did not invest in their army. So Trump cannot think and go to every country. And some country can't go there. Many American soldiers will lose their life. Everybody is fed up with Trump everywhere. I don't support that. I don't like anything Trump. You can't be everything in the world. It does not favor the world. It makes the world look ruthless. I don't want it. If I'm the Nigerian president, if you come here, many American soldiers will die like fowls. I don't like that kind of things. I like everybody to run his country. This is not where the world have gone beyond that level. And what Trump is doing is what caused the Second World War. And even South Africa, they are saying this will lead to war. Because you can't go to everybody's country and everybody will do your bidding. It does not work that way. I do not support that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Michael from Onitsha. Good morning. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, my speaker. My name is George from Masara.
Go on, George.
Let me take on what is going on within Wiki and Fubara. I believe that it's just a matter of time. Wiki will know in exactly position in APC or in PDP. It's just left for him now to take a decision. Because when the time will come now, I don't believe that APC they will accept for a different person or a different structure to take over River State. Because no matter the way we look at it, Fubara still have his own crowd. They still have his own crowd. For them to not have that divide, because what exactly that is one of the biggest problems that even Mr. President need to come Wiki and ask Wiki, what exactly do you want? Yeah, make sure that okay, this man has become a APC governor overnight. You are still fighting him. So that is something like that. I don't really know if Mr. President is in charge. I don't know whether now we are going to go and meet the deputy president Bajamila, because we know that the other man is not the vice president of Nigeria, Bajamila, because they are the people that always take two decisions. Let things can come Wiki in order. Because some of the meeting and the secret meeting that they are doing, you will not see Shatima there, but you always see Bajamila in the secret meeting. So that shows that it's almost our vice president. So let him try impossible best and call Wiki in order. We don't know exactly the agreement that they have with Wiki. So it can't be fighting to because where this man went to move to APC, so many of us were very angry. But in the other we now thought that okay, that this fight will end. So we understand that this fight is still there after moving to APC. So what exactly does Wiki want? So let the president and the team call him and ask him what exactly that he wants. Because we've been looking at it this way. He may call the president in vote in River State, no matter the way they look at it. Because I still believe that Fubara has your card. Talking about what Trump is doing, it's a very nice one. So I would like them to even take a very key observation in Nigeria next election. and let us see the way things are going to pan out. Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you, George. Let's quickly dash to our Facebook page. Sebastian Abiwe from Ugwabobosi says, looking at the speculation that the Consoludo is likely to give automatic ticket to some serving mayors is not far-fetched, owing to the type of politics being played in this country called Nigeria. Regarding the fact that the winner takes all type of politics, don't you think that such speculation is a sure bet? Okay, he's asking Tony now. And he said, away from this, what happened in Venezuela? How I wish such military intervention will happen in some areas of interest. Okay, Dr. Misimo Lebara from Aurimo State says, why is Wike always playing God? Why can't Wike allow Governor Fubara to concentrate and deliver dividends of democracy to Rivers people? Is Wike the only ex-governor of Rivers? It is becoming too much for Wike and very embarrassing. Those the gods want to destroy, they first make mad. And he says, Wike, know thyself. Ifeanyi Jibuaku says, I want to add that Trump, at the onset of his second coming, threatened to annex Canada as the 51st state of US. I am yet to decipher what that might stop to time will tell. Of course, he rightly observed that Trump did that. John Ekun says, I continue to like analysis day after day. Wike, God has brought him down finally. Okay, he posted from Asaba. Also, Francis Naman Omaga is watching from Magunze in Enugu State. He says, yes, Wike should remember that power is transient and nobody will remain in power forever. He should allow peace to reign in River State for goodness sake. Antonio Mera, Motnonye Mechi. Okay, thank you all for watching. Likewise, the Collins Uzomo Wakwe are watching. Okay, Umera is watching from Zamfara State. Why Collins is watching from Onitsha. Master B SJ says that Barrister Wike is absolutely greedy in politics to the extent he did not belong to any political party as for now. Either APC or PDP, FCT minister never have people's lives at heart, just like former President Goodluck Jonathan, and all he needs is what he will get in return. He didn't day. It is time to call US President Donald Trump on him. Okay, he posted from Onitsha. Young Gopon says, okay, you're watching from Benue State. It's high time Nigerian government needed to put the country in order before President Donald Trump will capture trouble leaders, including INEC chairman. And he says the world is watching Nigeria on daily basis. Okay, so these are some of the reactions we have now. So Tony, we have two questions that were put up by Monday Johnson, and I think we have to address the questions now before we now see how we proceed to our destination time. Monday Johnson asked a question about what is the political ideology of Mr. P2B, and second one is, does Nigeria have power sovereignty?
When you talk about the political ideology of Mr. P2B, Mr. P2B, from what he has said and from what he has preached the issue of manufacturing, production-based economy. And he hasn't said that it's going to be state-based. One thing people should understand is this. I've said it many times, and then I'm going to say it. If you look at socialist ideology, especially, it's all about where ownership, most importantly, where ownership, key industries, both health, energy, transit, they are mostly publicly owned. When you say publicly owned, not owned by members of the public. Publicly owned means owned by the government. So when government owns the key institutions of production, distribution, energy, transit, that is socialism. In fact, in Nigeria, before now, energy sector was predominantly owned by government. NNPC, before it was unbundled, we are, OPL and OML, we are sold, things like that. So that is what, socialism is key about. So, but if you look at it from the communal angle, you find out that some of these things are communally owned. So there's nothing like private ownership in communism. But when you talk about socialism, it's all about these things owned by the public. So P2B has no such view where government takes hold of manufacturing sector, production sector, distribution sector, energy sector, government controls everything and owns everything. That's not his view. His view is more like free enterprise, open market, allow the forces of demand to take their control. So that is his own view, which is not in alignment with what Maduro and Petro Gustavo of Colombia, some of these countries, they have background, they have traces where they came from. So that is just that. And then the second question, he talked about issue of power sovereignty and legal sovereignty. I was listening to Professor Akinyemi yesterday. Of course, I think it's 4 years. I was listening to him. So when he was talking about power sovereignty, it means that the need for you to know your capacity as a country. If you see somebody who is bigger than you in any form, you should respect that person. And he said, Mr. President, that President Tinubu should study Trump. Monitor his mood. Don't provoke him. Don't aggravate him. Because you cannot confront him. You cannot in any way stand if he comes after you. So power sovereignty is more like an animal farm. If you think you can take ownership, take over any animal, go on and do it. UN Security Council was situated to clearly maintain international peace and also show those lines. But the US is not abiding by that, even when United Nations is headquartered in US. I hope you're aware. So I have said many times, if you look at President James Polk in 1946, when he fought that American-Mexican war, he ran on the platform of Manifest Destiny, the need for America to expand. And Trump has referenced that man many times. For me, that man remains one of the role models to Trump. Without that Mexican war, there will be no California in US. There will be no Nevada. There will be no Utah. There will be no Arizona. There will be no New Mexico. There will be no Colorado, Wyoming, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas. These are states they carved wholly or partly from Mexico through that war, Manifest Destiny. So Trump believes in some of these things advancing their own interests, not because of anything. So if you think you can beat him, come and arrest him. So for some, he has done what some presidents in the past has done. So my own concern is know your strength, know your weakness. When you think somebody will come and protect you, like look at what is happening to Venezuela. Where is China today? China is making statements. Where is Russia? Can't Russia and China save Maduro? These are people that have been giving him backing. Where are they today? What are they doing? So the most important thing, recognize their strength and power. That is power sovereignty. Legal sovereignty is the one written in international law, but US is not abiding by that.
All right, so we end on this very note. Somebody said, in fact, there was a movie made in that very respect. It was titled "Catch Me If You Can." And on that very note, we end today's conversation. Thank you for listening. My name is Frank Mevika. I was with Tony Olisembeki. And we hand you over to those who are going to bring you good tunes you are going to enjoy before we get to bring you Cherry Box Downside of Tour. My name is Frank Nebeka. Good morning.